The jump scare is a well-known practice among moviegoers from all walks of life. This trick is so ubiquitous, I would say that even strict rom-com purists know exactly what it is and how it's employed. Lately, it's become even more popular, with video games and CGI fests alike hinging their entire identity on the successful application of a well-timed shock. Some dismiss the jump scare as a lazy way to make the audience recoil and point to movies whose scripts are largely vehicles meant to deliver loud noises and sudden movements. Others know that a well-implemented jump scare can really send heart rates skyrocketing if used sparsely and effectively. So today we're going to analyze some of the best in class. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 biggest jump scares in horror movies. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more sudden movements and musical cues. Excellent, let's do it. Coming in at number 5, we've got the Diner Monster from Mulholland Drive. If you're of the opinion that only hacks use jump scares, might I direct you to the time-bending thriller by the one and only David Lynch. This jump scare tends to make people feel physically ill after seeing it, because even after Patrick Fischler's character repeatedly explains what he expects to encounter behind that wall, nobody is prepared for it to actually manifest. If you haven't seen Mulholland Drive in its full form, I'd recommend watching it before viewing this clip, just so you get the full effect. If you've already seen the movie or just don't care, well, here you go. A lot of folks claim that this scarred them for life, and I don't blame them. After taking in a relatively pleasant breakfast in the nearby diner, our two suited characters head into the back lot. Fischler's character seems to be possessed as he forges forward towards the known unknown. The sounds cut out and some classic Lynchian fare is pumped in. Faint humming, whining, and whirring can be heard before the sky seems to rip open, revealing the grease-covered monster. It's not as jarring as some modern jump scares, which utilize tighter cuts and louder noises, but damn if it isn't effective. It just sort of floats out, grins, and then floats back into the void. It's phenomenal stuff. It was scary enough to absolutely stone cold KO the poor lad in front too. Sleep paralysis demons looked to this scene for ideas on how to effectively scare people, which makes sense because it's also implied to be in a dream. Lynch never gets old. Coming in at number 4, we've got Poor Samuel from Deep Blue Sea. The hallmark of a good jump scare is that you don't see it coming, right? A lot of scripts love to build tension by having a character quietly walk through a desolate location as the music slowly builds up. Just when the background sounds start to fade enough for you to lean in a little, boom, something bounces to the forefront and knocks you on your ass. Classic misdirection, but a little bit overdone, don't you think? Which is why the jump scare from Deep Blue Sea is so impressive. As the threat of the hyper-intelligent sharks becomes apparent, folks trapped in the lab start to panic. Teamwork out the window, and everyone seems to be losing it. As the infighting reaches a fever pitch, Samuel L. Jackson's character Russell decides enough is enough. He steps up and gives a rousing speech about teamwork and the importance of togetherness. See, Russell has been in dangerous situations before. He's been under tons of snow after an avalanche and lived to tell the tale. And he knows what crises can do to people. And with this information, he commands the attention of the infighting group and inspires them to come up with a plan and see it through to the end. If only he were allowed to finish. Right as the speech was approaching its most important part, the escape plan, the super intelligent shark jumps up behind him and eats him alive. Not exactly the outcome anyone was expecting, huh? Check it out.
We're gonna seal off this.
Man, oh man. Really, who would have seen that coming, eh? In the midst of an emotional speech, bam, shark attack. Absolute genius stuff. Coming in at number 3, we've got The Doorway Man from It Follows. It Follows is a movie that thrives on atmosphere. The premise involves a threat that is constantly moving towards you at a steady speed. Because of this, the possibility of a jump scare is pretty low. It, as one might call it, isn't of higher intelligence, and it doesn't have any teleportation powers. It'll just walk towards you until it catches you and you die. Long, creeping zooms are the name of the game here. The fear doesn't come from maniacal killers hiding in the darkness or big monsters tearing down buildings and crashing through walls. Despite all this, director David Robert Mitchell manages to pull off a jump scare like no other. After learning the rules of the monster and briefing her friends on it, Jay and company are hiding out in a bedroom. It seems that for now they've outrun the Phantom and managed to find some well-deserved rest. But wait, There's footsteps coming down the hall. Fight or flight has activated once more, and Jay is ready to bolt at a moment's notice. The team hesitates before slowly opening the door and revealing what's on the other side. Oh, it's just their friend Yara. Another sigh of relief, but oh god, oh no. A screeching piece of bubbling and shaking synthesizer accentuates the arrival of a tall man with dark spaces where his eyes should be. He seemingly materializes right from where Yara was standing and continues his relentless pursuit, forcing Jay to hop out the window. It's a masterful subversion of expectations and manages to pack a tiny emotional roller coaster into about 2 minutes of footage. Now, it's summertime. Go and watch this movie again. Coming in at number 2, we've got the final scene from Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, well, you were hoping for a happy ending. You poor, naive soul. After putting up with Freddy's antics for the better part of 90 minutes, Nancy thinks she's come away victorious. She's realized that Mr. Krueger's powers comes from his victim's fear, so she fights him off by being totally fearless. Upon waking from the final nightmare, she is greeted by a pleasant, if not foggy, morning. Her mom's there, her friends are alive, all seems well. Then, out of the blue, the top of her pal's convertible comes down, revealing Freddy's signature colors. The windows lock the friends inside the vehicle as it hurtles down the street, and Mama just looks calmly on. And that's not even the final scare either. As 3 girls dressed in white sing Freddy's song, Nancy's mom is dragged through the front window by a clawed hand. There's no escape, don't you know? Horror movies at the time weren't exactly known for exclusively happy endings, but this one was extra bleak and scary. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this were the moment that really cemented Freddy as a horror icon. Most villains could kill all they wanted during the runtime, but ended up in a less opportune place to murder. To have the movie end on such a shocking note was a stroke of genius. Even if the mom ended up looking like a blow-up doll as she was pulled through the sugar glass. When a movie introduces elements early and they pay off in some way afterwards, it feels rewarding. By picking up on a theme or piece of foreshadowing and then seeing it develop into a recurring motif, it can make you feel big brain mode. It doesn't always have to be super complex or difficult to pick up on either. A prime time example of this is the game of hide and clap from the Conjuring. The kids learn this game and have a ball with it in the introductory scenes. The game leads to the discovery of the cellar and also starts being used to lure people into danger. Late one night, Carolyn hears clapping in the hallways. Thinking it's her children up when they shouldn't be, she investigates. As she gets closer and closer to the source of the noise, it becomes apparent something fishy is going on. Soon, she's in the cellar after being pushed down the stairs by a mysterious force. The light blows out, leaving her in the dark. Out of breath and afraid, she lights a match. The meager flame doesn't do much in terms of illuminating her surroundings, but it does provide a pair of disembodied hands the opportunity to scare the ever-living daylights out of her. You wanna play hide and clap? Well done, folks. Well done. Anyone feeling a little bit shaken up? It's alright if you are, that's kind of the point of a jump scare. What did you think of the list? Do you agree with my ratings? Are there any famous jump scares that I might have glossed over? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more hysterical ones from the top 5 worst horror movie reboots. Misha521 says, my friend and I saw Carrie in a brand new huge theater. We were the only 2 there. We MST3K'd the hell out of that movie. That sounds like a top tier movie going experience. I'm glad you got to have fun with it. Entity999 says, how the freak did the 2006 remake of The Wicker Man not make this list? I just feel like enough folks have put that through the ringer at this point. Just enjoy the bees for what they are. Pixie Princess 501 says, an interesting example of a remake being scarier than the original has to be Suspiria. Here's the thing though, the original is just as scary as the remake, and when you think about it, the remake takes place in the same world, but from a different perspective. This is one I recommend that you watch both for the full experience. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. While the remake doesn't have the same charm as the original, it dials up the scares to 11 and really expands on the universe. Both are definitely worth a watch or 5. Joseph Steele says, I actually really enjoyed the remake of Friday the 13th. You know what? I respect that. Movie reviews are far from objective, and I'm glad you could express an antithesis to my thesis without getting too mad about it. And John Holub says, but train wrecks are fun to watch. Yeah, I think that's the ultimate position on reboots. No matter how bad they get, it's just a blast and a half to watch a disaster in motion. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I accidentally connect Vincent Price's House on Haunted Hill to the Haunting Hill House again, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more tricking and also treating. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.